Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. Identity is the most expensive currency. Spend it recklessly, and the world will own you. Most people cling to one version of themselves like it's a life raft, terrified of inconsistency, terrified of being misunderstood. Yet studies show that the average person already alters their personality dozens of times a day without even realizing it, at work, with friends, online, even ordering coffee. The Sigma female? She doesn't just alter, she shapeshifts. And unlike the rest of us fumbling to fit in, she does it deliberately, almost surgically. She isn't reinventing herself to please anyone. She's doing it to protect her freedom, to infiltrate systems, and sometimes just to entertain herself while everyone else plays predictable characters. It's why people never agree on who she really is. Sweet one day, razor sharp the next, mysterious when it suits her, brutally direct when it doesn't. Like a Netflix series that never drops the trailer, you only know the episode you're in, and even that can shift halfway through. So if you've ever wondered why Sigma females seem impossible to pin down, it's not because they're confused, it's because they refuse to be trapped. And yes, it can be as fascinating as it is frustrating. Like trying to argue with someone who keeps changing accents mid-sentence. This is why Sigma females shapeshift. And trust me, you're about to see it's not about drama, it's about power. Number 1, they shapeshift because they've outgrown linear narratives. Most people live inside a straight line. They follow predictable paths: school, career, marriage, family, retirement, like a script that was written before they were even born. Society praises this as stability, and tells everyone that sticking to one version of themselves is the highest form of maturity. But Sigma females see something different. They see that linear narratives are traps designed to keep people easy to manage. If you know where someone's story is headed, you know how to control them. A Sigma female rejects this from the start. She refuses to let her life move like a single highway with a start and finish. Instead, she bends, rewrites, and even erases parts of her own story whenever she feels like it. One year she may be the quiet observer, another year the bold risk-taker, and the year after that she might step back into the shadows again. To outsiders, this looks inconsistent, even chaotic, but to her, it's freedom. It's proof she's not chained to one identity or one storyline just because the world expects it. This is why people struggle to define her. Just when someone thinks they've figured her out, she flips the script and becomes something else entirely. It's not an act. It's an evolution that happens in real time. Where others stick to one label for life, she outgrows labels as quickly as shoes that no longer fit. She refuses to let yesterday's choices trap her into tomorrow's identity. It also explains why Sigma females are rarely predictable in relationships, careers, or social groups. They'll thrive in one circle for a while, then suddenly shift into a completely new world without warning. They don't feel guilt about leaving old versions of themselves behind because they never saw identity as permanent to begin with. They see themselves as ongoing stories with no set ending, constantly edited and rewritten. To some, that makes her intimidating. To others, it makes her magnetic. But to her, it's simply survival. A Sigma female shapeshifts because she refuses to live on rails. She won't walk a straight line when she has the power to redraw the map. That's what sets her apart. She doesn't follow narratives, she breaks them. Number 2, they don't fear being accused of inconsistency. Consistency is one of those traits society glorifies, as if being the same person every single day is the ultimate proof of strength. People are told to stick to who you are, as though changing your mind, your habits, or your identity is a sign of weakness. But Sigma females see through this illusion. To them, consistency is not a virtue, it's a trap. It's a way the world convinces people to lock themselves inside one personality, one role, one destiny, and then stay there until the end. A Sigma female refuses that prison. She would rather be accused of being unpredictable than be forced into a character she no longer relates to. If she feels a shift in perspective, she allows it. If she outgrows a belief, she sheds it. If she discovers a new layer to herself, she embraces it without apology. Her loyalty is to her evolution, not to outdated versions of who she used to be. That's why people often find her confusing. She doesn't mind tearing down her own identity if it no longer serves her. For her, inconsistency is actually honesty. Life isn't static, so why should she be? Every experience, every betrayal, every victory reshapes her, and she honors that by letting herself change. While others stay committed to the same persona because they fear judgment, she changes unapologetically, even if it unsettles those around her. She knows people crave predictability because it makes them feel safe. But she also knows predictability makes people easier to control. By breaking the expectation of consistency, she protects her freedom. This is why Sigma females can't be pinned down in relationships, careers, or social circles. One day she may seem nurturing, the next day detached, and the day after that, razor-focused on her own path. To some, this looks like instability. To her, it's growth in motion. She doesn't measure herself by how reliably she can repeat the past. She measures herself by how boldly she can outgrow it. A Sigma female would rather evolve 100 times and be misunderstood than stay the same and be admired. Her inconsistency isn't weakness. It's proof she refuses to be frozen. She's not chasing stability. She's chasing truth, and truth is never still. Number 3, they shapeshift because stagnation is society's trap. Every system around us thrives on people staying the same. Workplaces expect employees to pick one role and repeat it until retirement. Cultures praise those who uphold traditions without questioning them. Even families often pressure individuals to stick to fixed identities, be the dependable one, the responsible one, the obedient one. It's how order is maintained. Stability makes society easier to predict and control. But for Sigma females, this stability is not comfort, it's a trap. They see how quickly consistency turns into stagnation, and how easily stagnation becomes submission. A Sigma female refuses to be a permanent pawn in any system. She knows that once you stop shifting, once you stop reinventing, you become a piece that can be placed and kept where others want you. Shape-shifting for her is not just about personality, it's about power. It's how she stays untouchable in a world that tries to pin everyone down. By changing form, role, and even energy when necessary, she slips through the nets society constantly throws. This is why she often appears unpredictable, even rebellious. Not because she enjoys chaos for its own sake, but because she refuses to let anyone, whether it's an employer, a partner, or a social group, decide who she should be permanently. While others spend their lives perfecting one mask, she keeps crafting new ones, wearing them when they serve her, and discarding them without guilt. Her refusal to stagnate makes her threatening, because systems are built to handle compliant, stable people, not those who reinvent themselves at will. What unsettles others is that her shifting isn't random. It's intentional. She adapts to stay free, to avoid being locked into a role she never agreed to play forever. It allows her to move through spaces, collect what she needs, and leave before anyone can bind her. To people who value permanence, this makes her unreliable. But to her, it's the highest form of self-protection. Sigma females shapeshift because they know the cost of standing still. Stagnation is society's way of keeping people predictable and manageable. Refusing it is their quiet rebellion. And in that rebellion, they find something most people never taste: freedom without chains, identity without cages, and a life that belongs entirely to them. Number 4. They've mastered silent infiltration. Sigma females have a remarkable talent for moving through spaces without announcing their presence, yet leaving an impact that others often don't see coming. In male-dominated environments, they don't rely on loud opinions or forced dominance. Instead, they observe, listen, and adapt their behavior to blend in seamlessly, all while quietly establishing influence. Their presence is subtle, but it shapes decisions, perceptions, and outcomes without anyone realizing the source. In female social hierarchies, where alliances, gossip, and unwritten rules often govern power, Sigma females excel at understanding the dynamics quickly. They adopt just enough of the expected behaviors to avoid suspicion, yet maintain enough independence to act on their own terms. By navigating these networks invisibly, they gain access to information, opportunities, and leverage that overt players might never achieve. Even in mixed groups, their ability to shift forms allows them to enter spaces where no one anticipates them. They adjust tone, body language, and energy to suit the room, not to impress, but to move unimpeded. They don't compete for attention, they redirect it subtly, planting ideas, influencing outcomes, or observing weaknesses that others are too distracted to notice. This mastery of silent infiltration is not about deceit, it's about strategic presence. Sigma females know that power rarely comes from loud assertion. Instead, it comes from being underestimated, moving unseen, and operating in spaces where others assume they don't belong. By the time anyone realizes their influence, the Sigma female has already secured her position and often exited without a trace. In short, Sigma females enter spaces like shadows with purpose. They don't announce themselves, they embed themselves, learn, adapt, and leave a quiet mark. It's a skill that combines intelligence, observation, and control, making them almost impossible to counter because the very act of noticing them is often too late to matter. Silent infiltration isn't just a tactic. It's an art form that defines how Sigma females navigate a world built to confine them. Number 5. They understand people want illusions, not reality. Sigma females understand something most people never admit. Almost everyone prefers a version of reality they can handle, not the truth. People don't want the full spectrum of who someone is. They want comfort, predictability, and confirmation of their own assumptions. A Sigma female doesn't fight this reality, she uses it. She doesn't exhaust herself trying to force people to see her true self, because she knows that truth is rarely appreciated and often weaponized. Instead, she presents the version of herself each person wants to see, giving them what they need to interact comfortably, while keeping her core untouched and unexposed. This doesn't mean she's fake or dishonest, it means she's strategic. By feeding illusions, she controls how much energy she invests and how much she reveals. She allows people to feel secure, to underestimate her, or even to admire her, all while she operates entirely on her own terms. She can be charming, nurturing, serious, or aloof, depending on the expectations of the moment, but behind the facade, she remains sovereign, unbound by anyone's perception. This skill allows her to navigate every environment smoothly. In professional settings, she adapts to personalities and office politics without becoming a pawn. In social situations, she engages without sacrificing her autonomy. Even in personal relationships, she sets boundaries by controlling what others think they know about her. People feel they understand her, but the reality is that the Sigma female has maintained full control over how she is perceived, keeping her identity and her power intact. Her approach isn't about deception for the sake of manipulation. It's about preservation and efficiency. She has finite energy and she refuses to waste it, exposing herself to judgment, control, or misunderstanding. By giving people illusions instead of raw reality, she moves through life unharmed, often unnoticed until her presence or decisions make a quiet but undeniable impact. In essence, a Sigma female doesn't just live in the world, she navigates it like a master strategist, understanding that illusions are the currency of human interaction and that maintaining her untouched core is the ultimate form of power. Number 6. They see society's roles as badly written scripts. Sigma females look at society's prescribed roles and see them for what they are: rigid, poorly constructed scripts that demand obedience, conformity, and predictability. Wife, leader, feminist, nurturer, rebel. All of these labels come with expectations, rules, and limitations that rarely fit any real person. Most people try to perform these roles faithfully, believing that success or acceptance depends on staying inside the lines. A Sigma female, however, refuses to be boxed in. She recognizes that these roles are often more about controlling behavior than reflecting identity. Instead of performing them conventionally, she rewrites the scripts as she goes, bending the rules, altering the tone, and adding unexpected twists. She might display leadership without ego, nurture without submission, or rebel without spectacle. In doing so, she keeps everyone watching off balance, confused, intrigued, and often unable to predict her next move. People who try to categorize her struggle because she refuses to remain consistent long enough to be fully understood. This skill is not just about social maneuvering, it's about control over her own narrative. By refusing to follow society's rigid instructions, she determines what each role means for herself, rather than letting others define it. She chooses when to appear compliant and when to disrupt, often blending contradictions in ways that make her seem both relatable and untouchable at the same time. Her audience, whether colleagues, peers, or acquaintances, can't help but be fascinated. They expect a performance based on established norms, but instead they get a living, evolving interpretation that challenges assumptions and rewrites expectations in real time. It's captivating because it's unpredictable yet coherent in its own internal logic. Every move is deliberate, every shift calculated to protect her autonomy. Ultimately, a Sigma female doesn't reject society's roles out of disdain. She reclaims them. By reshaping these badly written scripts, she proves that the story doesn't have to be preordained. She writes her own rules mid-performance, leaving everyone around her simultaneously confused, amazed, and powerless to dictate her identity. Number 7. They switch codes like hackers switch networks. Sigma females have an uncanny ability to move through different social environments with the precision of a master strategist, almost like a hacker navigating networks. Every space, whether it's a corporate boardroom, a friend group, or a casual gathering, has its own rules, its own language, and its own expectations. To survive and thrive, she doesn't just adapt, she switches codes entirely. Her conversational style, emotional tone, and body language adjust seamlessly, sending signals that fit the environment perfectly while concealing her true intentions and core self. This ability isn't superficial mimicry. It's a conscious recalibration that allows her to gather information, influence outcomes, and maintain autonomy without drawing unnecessary attention. In one setting, she may be warm and approachable, encouraging trust and openness. In another, she could be analytical and detached, observing patterns and mapping social dynamics. Each signature she emits is deliberate, designed to optimize her position and protect her freedom, much like a hacker rerouting through proxies to remain invisible while collecting crucial data. What makes this so formidable is how naturally she does it. Unlike people who awkwardly try to fit in or mask themselves with forced politeness, she blends authenticity with strategy. Her shifts are fluid, almost invisible, leaving others unaware of the depth of her awareness. By the time anyone realizes she's operating on a different level, she has already achieved her objective or silently exited, leaving no trace. This skill also grants her remarkable social immunity. Misunderstandings, conflicts, and attempts to control her are minimized because she presents the version of herself that each environment can handle. She doesn't waste energy arguing or justifying. She simply recalibrates and moves forward. Ultimately, switching codes isn't about being fake, it's about mastery. A Sigma female doesn't conform to spaces, she navigates them, maps them, and manipulates them to her advantage while remaining untouchable. Her ability to switch codes like a hacker switching networks ensures she is always several steps ahead, unseen, yet profoundly effective in every environment she enters. Number 8. They shapeshift to evade psychological leashes. Sigma females understand that people crave certainty. Once someone believes they understand her, that perception quickly becomes a leash, a subtle form of control that limits her freedom and binds her to expectations. Friends, colleagues, partners, even family, all unconsciously try to fit her into a box. Most people would tolerate this, trying to please or comply, but a Sigma female sees it as a trap. She refuses to let anyone define her or anticipate her fully. To protect her autonomy, she shapeshifts. The moment someone thinks they have her figured out, she changes her tone, her energy, her reactions into something unrecognizable. It's not about confusing people for fun. It's a defensive mechanism. By shifting, she maintains control over her identity and prevents others from exerting psychological power over her. Predictability equals vulnerability, and she refuses to be vulnerable to anyone's assumptions. This shape-shifting also allows her to test boundaries. By morphing unexpectedly, she measures how much influence others truly have over her, and where she can exert subtle control in return. Those who try to pin her down quickly realize that the version of her they thought they knew no longer exists. And yet she remains fully herself at her core. This is not duplicity, but a deliberate strategy to protect her sovereignty. It's why people often describe Sigma females as mysterious or inconsistent. What looks like inconsistency is actually a carefully maintained shield. By constantly evolving, she ensures that her freedom cannot be curtailed by the mental constructs others impose. She moves through life untethered, unclaimed and untouchable, because she refuses to let anyone hold her down with their expectations. In essence, Sigma females shapeshift to evade psychological leashes because understanding, once assumed, is a form of ownership. She refuses ownership, refuses confinement, and refuses predictability. Her identity is fluid, her presence dynamic, and her autonomy absolute. By morphing into something unrecognizable at the precise moment she is assumed to be known, she protects the one thing no one can take from her, herself. Number 9. They know people only respect what they can't fully predict. Sigma females understand a simple, brutal truth. People don't respect what they can fully control or predict. Once someone thinks they have a person mapped, understood, or categorized, influence and manipulation become easy. Most people spend their lives striving to fit expectations, seeking approval, or remaining predictable enough to be liked. A Sigma female does the exact opposite. She knows that respect, power, and freedom are born from unpredictability. By refusing to be fully mapped, she creates a form of social insulation. Others may try to corner her, test her, or manipulate her, but unpredictability makes these attempts almost impossible to succeed. She may be warm in one interaction and detached in the next, assertive in one room and silent in another. These shifts aren't random, they're deliberate. Every change signals that she cannot be reduced to a stereotype, a label, or a convenient narrative. People are forced to engage with her on her terms because they can never anticipate her moves entirely. This unpredictability also keeps others slightly off balance, which is a subtle but powerful form of control. People may try to push, prod, or influence her, but her fluidity ensures that she retains the upper hand. She isn't bending to avoid conflict, she's bending strategically to maintain freedom. While others exhaust themselves trying to navigate social expectations, she moves through them effortlessly, untouchable and respected in ways most people never achieve. The beauty of this method is that it doesn't require confrontation or aggression. She doesn't need to assert dominance loudly. She simply refuses to be cornered, leaving others frustrated or in awe. Her unpredictability becomes a shield, a boundary, and a statement of power all at once. In short, a Sigma female knows that predictability equals vulnerability. By remaining fluid, mysterious, and impossible to fully predict, she commands respect without demanding it, controls her space without aggression, and protects her autonomy without apology. Unpredictability isn't a quirk. It's a calculated, indispensable tool that ensures no one can ever fully own or confine her. Number 10. They understand that camouflage is safer than confrontation. Sigma females understand that overt confrontation is rarely the most effective strategy. Openly challenging toxic systems, whether at work, in social circles, or within families, draws attention, resistance, and often consequences that outweigh the immediate satisfaction of defiance. Instead of wasting energy on battles that may compromise her autonomy, she opts for camouflage. She blends in, adapts to the environment, and quietly navigates around threats, taking what she needs without exposing herself to unnecessary conflict. This isn't about passivity or weakness, it's strategy at its highest level. By blending in, she observes the system from within, mapping its weaknesses and understanding its rules. She learns who holds influence, who manipulates behind the scenes, and where openings exist. Once she identifies what she wants or needs, she takes it, efficiently and cleanly, without triggering alarm or creating enemies unnecessarily. Her moves are surgical, precise, deliberate, and invisible to those who assume she is just another compliant participant. Exiting silently is just as critical as the entry. A Sigma female rarely leaves traces of her influence that could provoke retaliation. She disrupts systems subtly, leaving her presence felt, but her involvement untraceable. People may notice that things have changed, that outcomes have shifted, or that certain power structures no longer operate as they once did, but they rarely pinpoint her hand in it. This is why she is often underestimated until it is far too late. Camouflage also preserves her energy and freedom. Open confrontation is exhausting and limiting. Blending in allows her to operate in any environment without drawing unwanted attention, giving her the flexibility to move where she chooses, on her terms. It's a method of survival, growth, and quiet domination all at once. Ultimately, Sigma females understand that the loudest battles are not always the most effective. Camouflage, subtlety, and silent strategy offer far greater rewards. By mastering the art of blending in, taking what she needs, and exiting without evidence, she ensures that she navigates toxic systems not just unscathed, but in control, leaving the world none the wiser about her quiet power. Number 11. They've learned that fixed identities get weaponized against them. Sigma females understand that society has a way of weaponizing fixed identities. Once someone presents themselves as predictable or stable, others, intentionally or not, use that consistency to define, limit, or control them. Labels, roles, and expectations become tools for manipulation. The quiet one, the responsible one, the nurturing one. Once pinned down, a person can be exploited, dismissed, or forced into situations that serve other people's agendas rather than their own. A Sigma female refuses to hand anyone that leverage. By refusing to maintain a single, consistent persona, she protects her autonomy. She shifts how she presents herself depending on context, never giving anyone a stable target to aim at. Today, she might be soft-spoken and observant, tomorrow assertive and direct, and the next day completely withdrawn or enigmatic. These changes aren't random or reactive, they're deliberate, calibrated moves to ensure she remains untouchable. This approach also forces others to constantly reassess her, which in turn creates a subtle barrier against manipulation. People can't predict her responses, her limits, or her motivations. They can't anticipate when she will conform, when she will resist, or when she will step away entirely. That unpredictability protects her freedom and gives her the advantage in any environment, whether it's social, professional, or personal. Beyond protection, this strategy is empowering. By refusing to be boxed in, a Sigma female creates her own narrative. She determines the rules of engagement in every interaction, never letting external forces dictate her identity or trajectory. She doesn't just survive in systems that try to categorize and control. She thrives by remaining fluid, elusive, and impossible to corner. In essence, Sigma females have learned that fixed identities are liabilities in a world that seeks to exploit them. By keeping their persona shifting, they deny others power over them, retain absolute control over their narrative, and ensure that no one ever truly owns a version of who they are. Their identity is theirs alone, strategically guarded, always evolving, and never predictable. Number 12. They treat identity like a wardrobe, not a prison. Sigma females treat identity as a tool, not a cage. Unlike most people who cling to one version of themselves as if it defines their worth, they understand that identity is fluid, adaptable, and situational. For them, each persona is like an outfit, chosen deliberately, worn with purpose, and discarded when it no longer serves its function. What fits one environment, conversation, or challenge perfectly may feel constraining or outdated the next day, and they have no problem leaving it behind. This approach allows them to navigate life with flexibility and control. By cycling personas, they can adapt to the demands of different social, professional, or personal contexts without compromising their autonomy. They may appear nurturing in one moment, assertive in the next, and entirely detached when it suits them. These shifts are intentional, strategic, and often invisible to others, making her influence subtle yet profoundly effective. Treating identity like a wardrobe also protects her core self. While she may display countless outward variations, her inner sense of self, the part that holds her values, goals, and instincts, remains untouched. The personas she cycles through are tools to engage the world on her terms, not masks meant to deceive or erase her essence. This distinction is critical. She's not being fake. She's being pragmatic, preserving her freedom while operating in a world that constantly pressures people to conform. There's also a psychological edge to this approach. People who try to pin her down, categorize her, or predict her behavior are constantly thwarted because she refuses to stay consistent for their comfort. Her ever-changing presentation makes her unpredictable, which commands respect, curiosity, and sometimes frustration, all without her having to fight or justify herself. In short, Sigma females treat identity as something practical, aesthetic, and temporary. They cycle through personas with the same casual mastery someone might rotate their wardrobe, always selecting what fits the moment, discarding what doesn't, and never allowing themselves to be trapped by yesterday's version of who they were. It's freedom, strategy, and self-preservation all rolled into one. Sigma females are not defined by one persona, one label, or one narrative. They are defined by their refusal to be confined. Every shift, every calculated adaptation, every subtle recalibration of identity is a statement of autonomy and mastery over their own life. They shapeshift not out of indecision or superficiality, but as a sophisticated strategy for survival, influence, and freedom. Society's expectations, rigid roles, and predictable scripts are merely challenges to navigate, not cages to obey. By cycling personas like clothes, mastering silent infiltration, and embracing unpredictability, they operate on a level few ever recognize, leaving a quiet but undeniable impact wherever they move. Their shape-shifting is more than social adaptation. It's a form of power. It shields them from manipulation, prevents others from exerting control, and allows them to navigate environments designed to trap the complacent. They understand the art of giving people what they want while keeping their core untouched, thriving in spaces where most would feel constrained or defeated. Each move is deliberate, each persona temporary, yet every action reinforces their independence. In a world that demands conformity, the Sigma female refuses to be predictable. In a world that weaponizes consistency, she remains fluid. She doesn't just survive, she thrives, evolves, and commands respect without needing approval. To witness a Sigma female in motion is to see autonomy perfected, identity liberated, strategy embodied, and freedom wielded as effortlessly as breathing. For anyone paying attention, the lesson is clear. True power doesn't announce itself loudly. It moves quietly, adapts intelligently, and remains untouchable. Sigma females have mastered this art, and in doing so they redefine what it means to exist on one's own terms. They are living proof that identity, when wielded with awareness and strategy, becomes not a limitation, but the ultimate form of freedom. If you found this deep dive into the world of Sigma females fascinating, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss content like this. Smash that like button if it resonated with you, drop a comment with your thoughts or experiences, and share this video with anyone who needs to understand the power of strategic, unstoppable autonomy. Your support helps bring more insights like these to life.